The void of space erupted in brilliant crimson as the dying star convulsed, tearing reality itself at the seams. The Milano banked hard, Peter Quill's hands dancing across the controls as stellar debris screamed past the viewport. This wasn't supposed to be happening. Collapsing stars followed patterns, obeyed rules, but this one was hemorrhaging something else entirely. Something wrong. Rocket's claws flew across his console, sensors screaming warnings that made no sense. The raccoon's teeth were bared, not in his usual aggressive confidence, but in genuine concern. Behind him, Groot's branches swayed with anxiety, photosynthetic sensors picking up radiation signatures that shouldn't exist in this universe. Drax stood at the weapons console, fingers hovering over triggers, searching for something, anything he could stab. Gamora watched the anomaly with calculating eyes, already running tactical scenarios for threats that hadn't materialized yet. Then he appeared. The Watcher manifested before them not as flesh, but as presence, a being of cosmic authority whose very existence made the Milano feel like a child's toy. Uatu's massive form hovered over the observation dome, robes flowing in non-existent wind, eyes containing the weight of 1,000 witnessed apocalypses. The Guardians froze. Even Drax's warrior instincts recognized something beyond fighting. Guardians of the Galaxy, I do not interfere, but I observe, and what I have observed threatens the membrane between realities. Quill found his voice first, though it cracked slightly. Okay, big blue dude, you're gonna have to explain what membrane between realities means, because last I checked, we're just trying to stop a sun from killing a few million people. The Watcher's gaze shifted to the collapsing star, and in that moment, the Guardians saw it too. The way space folded wrong around the anomaly, the way light bent at angles that violated physics. This wasn't natural stellar death. Something was pulling at the fabric of their universe from the other side. A weapon born of light and consumed by darkness has pierced the cosmos. Another universe bleeds into yours. You must seal the wound at its source. But know this, the path opens only once. Whoa, wait. Another universe? You're telling me we gotta jump to a whole different reality to fix this? Before anyone could protest further, the Watcher extended one massive hand. A crystalline device materialized in the air before Rocket, a quantum membrane key, its surface crawling with equations that made the engineer's head hurt just looking at them. The thing pulsed with barely contained dimensional energy, already beginning to destabilize. I am Groot? He's right, this could be a trap. But the collapsing star flared again, and proximity alarms shrieked. The quantum tear widened. Through sensors, they detected 17 populated worlds in the blast radius. 17 worlds full of people who die because reality itself was breaking. Quill's jaw tightened. The decision made itself. The portal ripped open before them, a wound in space shaped like a doorway to somewhere else entirely. The Milano's engines roared as Quill punched the throttle, and they plunged through the membrane of their universe into the unknown. Before we move on, I'd like to ask you a small favor. If you're enjoying this content so far, please take a second to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Over 98% of you watch these videos without subscribing. Imagine what we could accomplish if everyone subscribed. We thank you all for your continued support. Hyperspace was wrong. That was Rocket's first coherent thought as the Milano tumbled out of the quantum tear into what should have been normal space, but wasn't. The stars were in the wrong positions. The background radiation signatures were alien. Even the way light moved seemed to follow subtly different rules. This wasn't just another sector. This was fundamentally elsewhere. The ship's emergency stabilizers kicked in, righting their trajectory just as a proximity alarm blared a warning they almost didn't recognize. Dozens of vessels surrounding them, none matching any design in the Guardians' database. The ships were elegant, almost artistic, sleek curves and chrome plating that spoke of a civilization that valued aesthetics as much as function. Then the communications array exploded with signals. Not hostile weapons lock, worse, traffic control. A bureaucratic voice crackled over every channel simultaneously. Unidentified vessel, you have violated controlled space lanes in Hosnian jurisdiction. Transmit registry credentials immediately and prepare for customs inspection. Quill and Rocket exchanged glances. Drax's hand moved toward weapons. Gamora held up a warning finger. Don't start a war in the first 5 minutes. Yeah, I'm on it. Their encryption is ancient, like stupid ancient, but their bureaucratic protocols are comprehensive. The raccoon's claws flew across holographic interfaces, fabricating credentials that would probably fool whoever was running this particular patch of space. The Milano transmitted a coded burst, merchant vessel, engine malfunction, requesting emergency docking clearance at the nearest station. The pause lasted 3 heartbeats. Then, clearance granted, proceed to Hosnian Prime Orbital Platform 7. Maintain designated approach vector. Welcome to the capital. The capital? Of what, they didn't yet know. But as their ship descended toward the blue-green planet below, passing through streams of traffic that suggested a thriving peaceful civilization, Rocket's instruments detected something else. A faint quantum signature, barely perceptible, emanating from somewhere on the planet's surface. The same signature that had torn their universe open. And underneath it, military vessels bearing a different emblem. Ships painted in stark gray and black, bristling with weapons, hovering at the system's edge like predators waiting for prey. Hosnian Prime's streets hummed with the kind of chaos that came from prosperity. Merchants hawked goods from 100 different worlds, politicians argued in open forums, and species the Guardians had never seen mingled in marketplaces that stretched for kilometers. It was almost enough to make them forget they were stranded in an alien universe. Almost. Rocket had commandeered a corner of their rented hangar bay, transformed it into a jury-rigged intelligence hub. Hacking into this galaxy's data networks had been surprisingly easy. Their cybersecurity was decades behind what he was used to. What he found made his fur stand on end. Guys, we've got a problem. A big glowing reality-breaking problem. The holographic display showed classified files stamped with an ominous symbol, the First Order. Intelligence reports painted a picture of a military junta operating in the shadows, building weapons, consolidating power. But buried in their research programs was something called Project Scarab. Experimental energy detection, multi-dimensional resonance testing, and at its center, kyber crystals. The technical specifications made Rocket's mind race. These crystals weren't just power sources, they were cosmic batteries that somehow tapped into the fundamental forces of this universe. Force, they called it, the binding energy that held reality together. And the First Order was experimenting with ways to detect and manipulate those forces across vast distances. That's when Quill felt it. A pulling sensation, like a memory he couldn't quite grasp. His hand moved unconsciously to his chest, where his celestial heritage had once burned with the power of a living planet. That power was gone, ego was dead, but something residual remained, and it was resonating with whatever those kyber crystals were. You guys hear that? I hear nothing. Perhaps your ears are broken. No, it's not a sound. It's like singing, something calling. Gamora studied him with concern that she tried to hide. She'd seen what power did to people. She'd watched Thanos pursue ultimate power across galaxies, leaving corpses in his wake. The thought of Quill walking that path tightened something in her chest. Peter, you want to steal a glowing rock because it's singing to you? It's not just a rock. According to these specs, it's the multiversal equivalent of nitroglycerin. If we can get our hands on one, I might be able to stabilize the quantum key, get us home. The silence that followed carried weight. They were strangers in this universe. They had no backup, no allies, and increasingly, no way home unless they took action. The kyber crystal wasn't just calling to Quill's residual power, it was calling to their survival. Groot's branches rustled with resignation. I am Groot. The tree is right. We must take the crystal. Fighting is the only honest path. The governmental district of Hosnian Prime sprawled beneath them like a monument to optimism. Gleaming towers, open plazas, celebrating a peace that wouldn't last. The Guardians crouched on a rooftop 3 buildings away from their target, studying the structure through enhanced optics. The vault was underground, accessible through a First Order administrative building that appeared to handle nothing more threatening than supply logistics. But Rocket's scans told a different story. The building's lower levels were military-grade secure. Reinforced walls, energy shields, automated defense systems that would make even Xandari and Nova Corps nervous. And stormtroopers, lots of stormtroopers. Their armor is uniform, shiny. This speaks of warriors who have never truly fought. Don't underestimate them. Look at the patrol rotations, 8-minute intervals, overlapping coverage, clear sightlines. Someone competent designed this. Rocket's scanner painted a 3-dimensional model of the vault's interior. 20 meters below street level, housed in what appeared to be a kyber crystal stabilization chamber. The crystal itself rested in a containment field, surrounded by monitoring equipment that measured its quantum fluctuations. The First Order was studying it, but they didn't yet understand what they had. They were mapping multiversal resonance patterns without realizing they were playing with reality itself. The vault had 3 access points: main entrance through the building's security checkpoint, maintenance shaft from the adjacent water reclamation system, and ventilation network that connected to every major structure in the district. Each route had problems. Each route could get them killed. Quill studied the building's blueprints with the kind of focus he usually reserved for outrunning explosions. This was different. This was planning. This was thinking 3 moves ahead. It made his head hurt. Okay, I got it. We split up. Gamora goes through ventilation. She's the only one small enough and quiet enough. Rocket needs to be near the main security node to hack their systems. I can probably fake my way past stormtroopers if I'm in uniform. Drax, I shall stand perfectly still. They will not see me. That's not how invisibility works, you giant. It has worked countless times. I am like a shadow, like a ghost. The plan came together like a puzzle made of bad ideas and desperate hope. They'd need disguises, fake credentials, and about 3 simultaneous miracles. It was, Quill reflected, exactly the kind of plan the Guardians excelled at, assuming nothing went wrong. The Resistance cell operated out of a maintenance depot 3 districts away, hidden in plain sight among workers who serviced the government buildings. The Guardians had nearly stumbled into them by accident. Rocket's surveillance programs had detected encrypted communications that didn't match the First Order or New Republic protocols. Communications that spoke of surveillance, intelligence gathering, and a growing threat that most of the galaxy refused to acknowledge. The meeting room was cramped, lit by harsh industrial lighting that cast sharp shadows across suspicious faces. The Resistance officer who'd agreed to meet them, a woman named Jess Pava, kept one hand near her blaster the entire time. Her eyes moved between the Guardians with the practiced assessment of someone who'd survived by trusting the right people and shooting the wrong ones. Let me get this straight. You're from another universe. You tracked a quantum anomaly to a First Order vault beneath this building, and you want to break in and steal experimental technology. Does that about cover it? Well, when you say it like that, it sounds crazy. It is crazy, but look at these schematics. This is their Project Scarab. They're not just collecting kyber crystals, they're using them to punch holes in space-time. Those energy signals, they're spreading. Give them another month and they'll collapse dimensional barriers across a dozen star systems. The technical displays were damning. Even the Resistance slicer, a Duros named Kes Tolan, had to admit the analysis was sound. The First Order was playing with forces they didn't understand, forces that could unravel reality if pushed too far. And according to Rocket's calculations, Starkiller Base's planet-killing capacity was just the beginning. The crystalline matrix required for that kind of power would resonate with dimensional frequencies. When they fired it, the quantum bleed would accelerate exponentially. Jess exchanged glances with her team. They were operating on orders from General Organa herself. Gather intelligence on First Order operations within the Hosnian system. Report anything unusual. This qualified as unusual. We want the intelligence. Everything you can pull from their systems about Starkiller Base, troop movements, supply chains. You get your crystal, we get leverage when we finally convince the Senate that the First Order is more than just Imperial remnants playing dress-up. A mutually beneficial agreement, my favorite kind. A mechanic near the back, young, eager, approached Groot with undisguised fascination. He'd never seen a sentient plant before. Groot, for his part, seemed delighted by the attention, extending a small vine that bloomed with bioluminescent flowers. The simple gesture broke tension in the room, made them seem less like aliens and more like people. The alliance was fragile, built on necessity rather than trust, but in this galaxy far from home, the Guardians would take what they could get. Dawn broke over Hosnian Prime with the kind of golden light that promised a perfect day. The First Order facility's morning shift change happened at precisely 0600 hours when tired guards were replaced by fresh ones, and for exactly 4 minutes, coverage overlapped in ways that created predictable blind spots. Quill adjusted the stolen stormtrooper helmet and immediately regretted every life choice that led to this moment. The thing was like wearing a bucket. His peripheral vision was non-existent, his breathing sounded like an asthmatic robot, and the armor? The armor fit like it was designed by someone who'd heard about human anatomy but never actually seen a human. How do these guys hit anything? I can't see. Stop complaining and move. We got a 90-second window before their patrol pattern shifts. Beside Quill, Drax wore his stormtrooper armor with confused dignity, moving with the stiff formality of someone pretending to be professional. Every few steps he'd freeze completely, convinced this made him invisible. Somehow it almost worked. Guards assumed he was malfunctioning, not infiltrating. Groot's approach was more direct. The facility's landscaping service had delivered a shipment of ornamental plants for the executive level, and nestled among them was one very still, very patient Flora colossus. The delivery crew didn't question the unusual specimen. They were paid to move plants, not identify them. And Gamora? Gamora was already inside. She moved through the ventilation shafts like smoke, her body adapting to cramped spaces with the muscle memory of 1,000 infiltrations. The Resistance slicer, Kes, fed her real-time updates through a concealed comm unit. Guard positions, patrol routes, security node locations. She cataloged every detail, building a mental map of the facility's defenses. Below her, in the main security hub, Rocket's chassis rolled past a checkpoint with manufactured authorization codes. The droid body was cramped, uncomfortable, and smelled like old hydraulic fluid, but it got him where he needed to be. The security terminal beckoned. His claws emerged from the chassis' maintenance ports, interfacing with the First Order's systems. Their cybersecurity was laughable, all their focus on physical defenses, none on digital intrusion. Within seconds, he had access to cameras, door controls, and environmental systems. "I'm in. Gamora, you got a clear shot to sub-level 3. Quill, you and Muscles need to go to the cargo lift. And for the love of Groot, stop handing out flowers." Because of course, Groot was handing out flowers. Small bioluminescent blooms that he grew from his fingers, distributed to passing workers who accepted them with confused delight. It was simultaneously the worst and best cover strategy imaginable. The heist was in motion. 4 entry points, 5 team members, 1 impossible vault containing 1 reality warping crystal, assuming nothing went catastrophically wrong. Sub-level 3 smelled of ozone and possibility. The kyber crystal chamber was a cathedral to scientific ambition. Pristine white walls, humming force field generators, monitoring equipment that tracked every quantum fluctuation of the sample at the room's center. And there, suspended in its containment field, was the crystal. It sang, not with sound, but with something deeper. A vibration in the fabric of reality itself. Quill felt it in his bones, in the hollow space where his celestial power used to burn. The crystal pulsed with blue-white luminescence, and in that light he saw patterns, harmonics, the mathematical poetry of the universe expressed in crystalline form. Gamora dropped from the ventilation shaft with practiced silence, landing beside him. He'd already mapped 3 escape routes and identified 2 potential ambush points, but she paused when she saw Quill's face, the way he stared at the crystal with something approaching reverence. "Peter, stay focused. We get the crystal, we get out." "It's beautiful. Can't you feel it? It's like music." "Yeah, great. It's very pretty. Now grab it so we can leave before..." Alarms, shrieking, cascading alarms that turned the facility into chaos. On the surface, a First Order probe had identified the Milano's unique energy signature. General Hux's forces had been searching for anomalies ever since their sensors detected the dimensional breach. Now they'd found it, and protocols demanded immediate containment. Rocket swore in 3 languages. Gamora's hand moved to her weapon. Drax, somewhere above them, roared with delight at finally having permission to fight. And Groot burst through a maintenance door, vines already extending to form defensive barriers. Special Force stormtroopers poured into the chamber, not the regular troopers, but elite soldiers with advanced training and nasty weapons. Their first volley forced the Guardians behind equipment racks as energy blasts melted metal and shattered monitoring displays. Finally, honorable combat! The vault dissolved into violence. Drax shoulder charged through stormtroopers like a missile, his strength overwhelming their tactical training. Gamora moved between shots with deadly precision, each strike disabling without killing. Groot extended his body into a living shield wall, absorbing fire meant for his friends while his vines disarmed attackers. And Quill reached for the crystal. The moment his hand reached the containment field, the world shifted. Power surged, not his power, but something the crystal recognized in him. His celestial heritage, dormant but not dead. The force field flickered, failed. The crystal fell into his palm, warm and alive. And suddenly, he understood. This wasn't just a crystal, it was a bridge. A connection to something vast and ancient that bound this galaxy together. The Force, they called it, and it was singing directly to him. "Move! Now!" The explosion collapsed the tunnel behind them, buying precious seconds. Gamora grabbed Quill's arm, pulling him from his trance. They ran. The surface erupted into chaos as the Guardians burst from the facility's emergency exit. Resistance operatives triggered diversions across 3 districts, smoke bombs, false reports, electromagnetic pulses that scrambled First Order communications. It bought them minutes, maybe. Quill clutched the kyber crystal against his chest as they sprinted through streets suddenly filled with panicking civilians. Above them, First Order transports screamed overhead, deploying troops at every major intersection. General Hux had declared emergency protocols. The capital was on lockdown. "You've got 6 blocks to the hangar. We're doing what we can, but Hux just deployed his entire garrison. They think you're New Republic saboteurs." "Great, accused of terrorism in a universe we don't even belong in." They fought through checkpoints, Drax clearing paths with raw strength while Gamora's precision disabled pursuit vehicles. Groot formed bridges across gaps where streets had been barricaded, his body stretching to impossible lengths. Every block was a battle. Every second brought them closer to either escape or capture. The hangar came into view, and with it, the Milano, surrounded by First Order troops establishing a perimeter. Gamora pulled Quill behind cover, studying his face with something between concern and fear. The crystal's glow had intensified, pulsing in rhythm with his heartbeat. Veins of light traced up his arms where he held it. She'd seen this before. She'd watched Thanos pursue power. She'd watched Ronan nearly destroy worlds with the Power Stone. Power corrupted. Power consumed. Peter, listen to me. This galaxy is dying under tyrants who believed power made them right. Don't let that crystal turn you into your father. The words hit harder than blaster fire. Ego. The living planet. The celestial being who'd used Peter as a battery, who'd tried to reshape the universe in his image. The father he'd had to kill. I'm nothing like him. I'm nothing like... Quill looked at his friends, his family, and the hunger the crystal sparked in him faltered. This power wasn't his. It belonged to this galaxy, to whatever cosmic balance the Force represented. He was just the delivery system. Touching moment. Love it. Now can we please shoot our way to the ship? The assault was desperate and beautiful. Rocket's weapons carved paths through stormtrooper formations. Groot surged forward, his body becoming a battering ram that scattered troops like bowling pins. Gamora and Drax moved with lethal synchronization, each covering the other's vulnerabilities. And Quill, the crystal blazing in his hands, channeled his energy into the Milano startup sequence. The ship roared to life, weapons systems online, engines burning hot. They made it to the boarding ramp just as capital ships began their descent from orbit. The Milano screamed into atmosphere with half of the First Order fleet on its tail. Space above Hosnian Prime transformed into a war zone. TIE fighters swarmed like angry insects, their distinctive howl cutting through comm channels as they locked weapons on the Milano. Behind them, a Resurgent-class Star Destroyer maneuvered into position. The Finalizer, Hux's flagship, bristling with enough firepower to reduce the Milano to atoms. Rocket's claws danced across the navigation controls, threading them through traffic lanes that became obstacle courses at this speed. Civilian transports scattered, broadcasting distress signals that added to the chaos. Every evasive maneuver brought them closer to some new collision. Each second felt like borrowed time. Rocket, we need hyperspace, now! Working on it, their hyperspace lanes don't match with our nav database. I'm flying blind here. A TIE fighter's cannons raked their hull. Alarms shrieked. Quill juked sideways, reversing thrust into a maneuver that should have been impossible, bringing them face to face with their pursuer. His finger found the trigger. The TIE exploded in a beautiful fireball. But 10 more took its place. Drax stood at the auxiliary airlock, securing a tether around his waist with the kind of calm that preceded something monumentally stupid. Before anyone could stop him, he cycled the lock and launched himself into space. His trajectory intersected with an incoming TIE fighter. His hands found the viewport. He ripped. The TIE spiraled out of control, its pilot ejecting just before Drax tore the entire wing assembly free. He used it as a makeshift shield, deflecting fire from another fighter before his tether recalled him to the Milano. Their ships break easily. This is enjoyable. Inside the ship, Groot extended vines through the hull's interior, interfacing directly with the Milano's systems. His biological network bypassed damaged circuits, rerouting power to critical systems. The ship wasn't just being piloted, it was being grown into, merged with, becoming something halfway between machine and organism. Gamora monitored the dimensional key's readout with growing alarm. The device was overheating, its exotic matter matrix destabilizing under the stress of remaining in this universe. They had minutes, maybe less. Rocket, the key won't hold. I know, I'm trying to... The Finalizer's main guns achieved target lock. Quill made a decision. He pulled the kyber crystal from his jacket, felt its resonance with the dimensional key, and understood with crystalline clarity what needed to happen. The crystal was attuned to the Force, this galaxy's fundamental binding energy. The key was attuned to quantum membranes between realities. They were two halves of the equation. He jammed the crystal into the dimensional key's power matrix. The reaction was immediate and catastrophic. Force energy surged through quantum pathways, creating a feedback loop that shouldn't have been possible. The key's temperature spiked. Warning displays painted the cockpit red, but the dimensional breach was opening, a tear in space that led back to their universe. Hold on to something! The Finalizer fired, and the Milano jumped. Transition between universes felt like being torn apart and reassembled at an atomic level. The Milano screamed through the quantum membrane as reality bent around them, Star Wars giving way to the Marvel cosmos in a cascade of impossible colors. Behind them, the portal collapsed, severing their connection to that galaxy far, far away. They tumbled back into normal space, their normal space, where stars were in familiar positions and the laws of physics behaved correctly. The collapsing star anomaly had stabilized, the quantum breach was sealed, and they were home. The kyber crystal had burned out, its structure fragmenting into a single perfect shard that Quill held in trembling fingers. The dimensional key was slag, fused beyond repair. One jump. The Watcher had warned them. One chance to return. They'd taken it. Rocket slumped over his console, breathing hard. Drax checked himself for injuries, found none, and seemed vaguely disappointed. Groot's branches swayed with relief, bioluminescent flowers blooming across his body. Gamora moved to Quill's side, examining the crystal fragment with careful fingers. "You could have kept the power. I saw it in your eyes. You wanted to." "Yeah, I did, for about 3 seconds. Then I remembered what happened the last time I held unlimited cosmic power. Didn't go so great." You know, I gotta admit, their universe, kind of awesome. Giant planet killers, space wizards, really nice ships, and that force thing, that was wild. The Watcher materialized one final time, his presence less imposing now, almost approving. Balance had been restored. The quantum breach was sealed. The First Order would continue their schemes, unaware how close they'd come to punching holes in the multiverse itself. And the Guardians had learned something about power, choice, and the thin line between hero and tyrant. Balance restored. But know this, Guardians, some doors, once opened, remember. The multiverse is vast. Your actions have created ripples. Somewhere, in the spaces between realities, your two galaxies will forever carry the echo of this crossing. Is that supposed to be ominous? Because it sounds kinda ominous. The Watcher smiled, or something approximating a smile, and faded from existence. The Milano drifted in space, systems slowly recovering from trauma they weren't designed to survive. The mission was complete. The universe was safe. They were alive. By Guardian standards, that counted as a victory. Quill attached the crystal fragment to a chain, wearing it like a pendant, a reminder of another galaxy's music, a memory of choices made and power refused. It didn't glow anymore, but sometimes, in quiet moments, he swore he could still hear it singing. So what's next? We saved the universe again. I suggest celebratory food and drink. He says you already suggested that 5 minutes ago, and 10 minutes before that. The Milano's engines fired, turning toward the nearest civilization. They had debriefings to avoid, bureaucrats to lie to, and drinks that desperately needed drinking. Just another day for the Guardians of the Galaxy. Somewhere in a galaxy far, far away, the First Order continued their preparations. Starkiller Base neared completion. The quantum signatures the Guardians had detected would remain unexplained in classified files. And General Hux would never quite understand what happened on Hosnian Prime that day. But in both universes, in the spaces between realities, the echo remained. Two families, one of misfits from Earth's solar system, one of rebels fighting tyranny, connected by a moment where dimensions crossed and heroes made the right choice. The Force and the Cosmos, separate, but not entirely, not anymore. If you enjoyed this journey into the shadows of what might have been, remember to hit that subscribe button and join us for more explorations of the infinite possibilities within that galaxy far, far away. May the Force be with you, always.